Hi, I'm Yinka, and this is The Hurt Locker, a podcast where we open a door into men's mental health. Come and go.
I think I had quite a few in my Hurt Locker, actually.
Let's go back then. You were in the military.
I always describe it as, I hated the circus, but I loved the clowns.
You've been shot, you've been stabbed, etc.
My body would send me back to that moment where I lost my friend, right? So PTSD is one of those things where you just got to constantly work at it, I think.
Did it take time to enter into therapy?
Yeah, also, bro, sometimes people just need to talk.
You're listening to The Hurt Locker, the podcast that opens the door on men's mental health. And tonight's guest, we have none other than award-winning comedian, Tevin Everett.
Nice,
Tevin,
nice.
welcome to The Hurt Locker. How are you?
Yeah, thanks for having me. I'm good, brother. I'm good. How you doing?
I'm good. How's your day been today?
It's been a good one. It's been a relatively lazy one. You know, comics life, our day doesn't start until now, honestly. So I've just been chilling, trying to watch some new TV shows, catch up, talk to my mom a little bit. Real easy stuff.
Okay. So I'm just going to dive in.
Yeah, let's do it.
What's in your Hurt Locker? Because I've got a few pointed questions for you already.
What's in my Hurt Locker, man? Look, I think I have all the normal stuff that I think guys have. You got breakups and, loss and grief and everything. I was in the military for 10 years, so I lost a few friends in that. I went through a few things. I got quite a few. I think I got quite a few in my Hurt Locker, actually.
Okay. Well, let's start with let's go back then. You were in the military for 10 years.
Yeah. So
how was that?
You know what? The military, it is. I try to tell people this all the time. I was in the American military also at that, so it's a little bit more active, and it's the global war on terror. We were doing all that stuff. It was, I met some of the best friends that I'll ever have in my life. They're family to me now. I always describe it as, I hated the circus, but I loved the clowns. It's just very much. You're 18. You're doing things that you're asking a lot of an 18-year-old who can't even have a beer legally in his own country. It was a lot. It was a lot to put through. A lot of stuff we had to go through. But came out on the other end. I think fortunately for me, I used the services that were available to me. I did a lot of therapy on my way out. I did a lot of the things to try to. And my dad was in the military before me, so I kind of have like a little bit of a head start.
Okay.
Yeah. The trauma that gets passed down. Hopefully, if the right thing gets passed down too, you can heal from it.
Okay. Let's look at currently what's happening in America, because you reside here in London. What's your thoughts on that?
I think it's very sad. I think it was it's one of those things where you watch it, and I think 5 years ago or 6 years ago we could have all tapped back and said this is where we were headed. And I think there were a lot of people who were screaming like, yo, if we don't change and start talking to people as people, eventually this is what can come from it. And I think we're just kind of seeing that now. I think it's very sad. It's hard to watch those videos a lot too, because it's a lot of people losing their lives for stuff that you just wish wasn't happening. Everything that's I don't think I agree with any of the policies going on in America right now, but there used to be a way we treated people. And I'm not saying, look, I'm a black man in America. I'm not saying it was always on the up and up, but there just used to be, whenever it happened, you didn't have half the world just saying, well, that's what should happen, while the other half is saying, like, this is actually completely wrong. I think we've become so desensitized to death and wrongdoing, and you almost forget that even if you are a criminal, cops aren't supposed to shoot the criminals either. Like, so now it's a mad one, man. And I think I just pray for everyone. I pray for my family. I pray for the regular law enforcement who's not even a part of Homeland Security that's now catching flack from everyone else too. There's so many things that go in. It's so layered. It's such a layered conversation. I hate to see it because I do love my country. I love America. It's just not the best place for me right now. And
Do you think you'd be fearful if you were living there?
Do I think I'd be fearful if I was living there? I think it depends on where. So if I was in LA, I think I'd be fine. I think there's a little bit of a bubble like LA or even New York or certain places. But yeah, I think if I was back home or if I was with family, there are just certain places where you just don't know what's happening. And I think the scary part about this is the scariest thing is you don't know what's happening or when it turns on. Like at first it was like it was the Hispanic community, which is very sad. But then they started going after like the African community and Somali community, and now you're like, yo, eventually you're just going to be stopping and frisking everyone who's not white. Even though white people have immigrants too, and there's Russians and Slovenians, and
Yeah.
all those people are in America too. But it's a very tough. I do think there are certain places where I'd be driving through. Look, I grew up in America. There's certain places I drive through now where I'm always fearful. Whether it comes to even like gangs or tougher neighborhoods, areas I don't really belong in, or heavy police presences in certain places. I'm just like, ah. So the answer is yes and no. It just depends on where I'm at.
Understood. Do you think, just on that point, do you think you just said then you could have predicted this 5-6 years ago? Do you think America was sleepwalking into it?
I think it's when you know what it is. I think the economy at one point or not even the economy, inflation, COVID, everything was the perfect bubble of making everything so expensive that people just wanted change. They didn't care how they were getting it. And I think when you go through 4 years of your gas going up every day, your groceries going up, all that stuff. Because I remember I was talking to my mom about this stuff, and she was like, "It's expensive to just go get a carton of eggs. Like everything got real expensive, and the wages didn't get higher. And when you don't
Yeah.
address that, and then the next person who's supposed to follow you was basically second in command the whole time, people just wanted change and they didn't care about, they forgot about January 6th or the insurrection or the how you embolden this guy. And so obviously he came back in and he was like, hey, here's a reminder, people. I'm gonna show you exactly how, because he just it's I mean, dude, they'll shoot someone, you'll watch the video, and then they will have a completely different explanation for what you're seeing. You can't argue with people like that. Yeah, I think the whole world needs to read 1984, the George Orwell book, because it's just like, yeah, it's a weird thing. It's a weird thing to see. But and I even know people who voted for. We didn't even this identity politics didn't used to exist in America, right? I've known people. I'm friends with the Republicans. I was in the military, so we didn't even talk about that. Like it never became so much who you are until recently, right? And now it feels like I can't even talk to a MAGA person or a Trump person without them somehow switching it as if I'm even liberal. And God, like most people in life, I'm in the middle. I think, I think people shouldn't die because they're poor. If that makes me liberal, sue me. But I also think, yeah, and stronger borders, but I think there should be a path towards immigration, an actual path. So I have so many different views that I'm like, what? But now it's just like my only requirement is to hate the other guy. And I don't know. That type of politics is always going to spawn what we're seeing right now. It's discontent.
Absolutely. And what about, can't remember his name, the leader of the military itself?
You're
What
talking about Pete,
Pete
the secretary?
Hetzler?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, Secretary Hasbro. He is, you know what? Everyone, I think, at this point in Trump's cabinet is a puppet of Trump, right? So you know how they say, like, when that one guy gets famous, right? Like if you're from like a hood background or wherever, you make it and you start putting all your boys in these positions, but everyone's a
Yeah.
yes man. It's the same way Kanye West went so crazy, and no one could stop Kanye West from doing, because everyone's telling him yes, and no one's being like, this isn't it. So now
Absolutely.
you got Pete attacking weird stuff. Like now you can't have beards in the military. Since when did that? I mean, it's not like this isn't what's important, right? Like we have other things. It's just silly. It's just silly stuff,
I won't push it too much, but
man.
when are they going to release the files?
Man, you know what? I don't think he'll release it as long as he can distract from it. Like
Absolutely.
people, if you care about the ICE stuff going on now, we don't need the files. It must have been some crazy stuff in those files for him to be.
100%.
I don't think it's
100%.
coming out. But I don't think it would just be Trump in the file. I think the whole thing would come down, right? Because you got to think it's not just one side or the other. I think countries are coming down. I think dictators. I think the whole world would come down.
Wow, interesting. Tell me a bit about growing up.
Yeah, no, I grew up. I had a solid. I grew up in Wilmington, Delaware. This is a small city right outside of Pennsylvania, right outside of Philadelphia.
Okay.
And it was cool, man. I had an older brother who was just good at everything. like easily. Like life just came to him easy. It was you're jealous to that,
He
right?
was blessed. Yes.
Oh, he was blessed at everything, man. Even when we did karate, he's like flipping and doing all this stuff, and I'm just like, just trying to keep up. But it was good because that kind of gave me like a north star to strive to. Like, no matter how good I got at stuff, I was like, he's better. Eventually, I had to carve out my own lane and get out of his shadow, but he definitely cast a wide shadow. I had a sister who was born the same day as me, a year apart, and she was very, very personable person. So she had all the big parties. Everyone wanted to be her friend. And I would kind of, I was in the back. I was the baby, you know what I'm saying? And I have a older sister who's 14 years older, and she's the hardest working person I ever met. And my mom and dad were very happy, very in love. They were the parents where you walk down on a Saturday morning and they're kind of just dancing in the living room, and that's your first example of love. So we all got really lucky in that sense. And it's man, I had a good family. I had a big family, really big family. I think my mom was one of 8. My dad was one of 7. Like, in the families all around, grandma, all the cousins, everyone's having kids. But it was couldn't go anywhere in my city without running into someone who looked like me. So it's kind of a
Okay.
beautiful thing. Yeah.
You said your dad was in the military. Did that mean that he's moved around a lot, or?
Yeah, no, he was a Marine. He was a
Okay.
Marine, but by the time he started having us, because we were late. We were. My dad didn't think he could have kids, so we were a joyous late entry to his life. By the time he had us, he was settled out. He was chilling. So we got to live in the same state growing up.
I was listening. I said before I was listening to a little reel of yours,
Yeah.
and you spoke about possibly having PTSD because of your experiences in the army, and that you've been shot, you've been stabbed, etc. Tell me a little bit
Yeah.
more about it.
So, complex PTSD is what I have. It's the thing you don't really dodge it. You just work on the triggers from that, which is really all you can really do is recognize it when something's gotten. And people, I think, have a misconception about PTSD. I'm not gonna spaz and choke a bunch of people out or do anything crazy, like, right? Like,
No, no, yeah.
it's more so like I'm irrationally upset and I can't understand why I can't control that emotion, right? Or like a lot of good things are happening, but I don't understand why I'm sad because you get triggered to certain things. So one of my big triggers, when I was early on in the military, went to Afghanistan, had a friend, and he ended up not coming home with us, right? And I had to tell his grandparents, right? And because his parents had already died, so here I am telling these grandpeople that there's no more. Now my big thing with that was he already now I didn't even recognize it, but a trigger for me, even from that little moment, became disappointing old people, you know? So now from then on, whenever I had to take someone like disappointing news, I would literally have a panic attack. My body would send me back to that moment where I lost my friend, right? So there's
Yes.
little things like that that like obviously you have to recognize and get a lot better at. I'm talking about it much more now. Again, I was in therapy, life kind of life, but yeah, man, it's just PTSD is one of those things where you just got to constantly work at it. I think I don't know if you know, my dad got dementia pretty late. Um,
Yes.
right. So like when he was dealing with his dementia and trying to take care of my parents, like you don't take care of yourself when you're doing all that. So I think that's when it was flaring up the most. But you're also trying to hide it because there's a bit of shame that comes with that too. You're like, oh no, now's the time to be a man, and I can't even step up in the way I'm supposed to. So my reaction to that was shut it all off. Right, don't feel anything. So I wasn't feeling happiness, sadness, anything. I was just like stoic. And then eventually all that stuff, just a horrible way to go about it because all that stuff is going to come out when it feels like it
Absolutely.
too. And yeah,
Absolutely.
and mine definitely did. But again, like I said, so now I'm in the place where I can recognize, I can talk about it a lot. And also it doesn't, I always tell people too, look, it doesn't have to be I was in the military. So,
No.
feel worse for me, man. It could be a really rough childhood, right? Or it could just be, yo, my man, you lost your job, your girl, and your uncle in the same day. This type of stuff makes you spin out.
Absolutely. It's not surprising, but it feels like for me that you took. Did it take time to enter into therapy?
Yeah, well, there was a bit of mandated therapy in the beginning, when I was, a young kid getting into fights and doing all the stuff we wasn't supposed to do. I think because I was a veteran, there's another way I know I got lucky. A lot of young black men in America don't get this many chances, but because I was a vet, I think every judge took like pity on me and was like, "You need to get right." And America or the system broke me, right? So they need to fix me, which I think
Yeah.
which I think it should be farther than the military, because like I got friends in the hood who just need therapy. I say it to my friends all the time too. I'm like, yo, when I make enough money, all y'all getting therapy, bro. Like we need to deal with these things. But so and then in the military, when you get out, you have to, especially if you're in a combat position, you have to convince a therapist has to sign off on it, and if he doesn't sign off, you got to come back and keep seeing them and them to get your service discharged. So there's a lot of forced therapy on my way out. And then obviously when I was out and doing things, I went back to, because I think therapy is a little bit of a tool where it can help you, kind of just get through a little tougher times if you need to. Even suggested my mom go to therapy for a little bit too. And then yeah, no, but now I feel like I'm pretty good. But there's no shame or stigma around it for me.
No, it doesn't feel like there is. It feels like you've
Yeah.
embraced it. You've seen the benefits of it.
Yeah. Also, bro, sometimes people just need to talk. Like people really just need to talk, and you can't. As a man, sometimes it's so much better to just go talk to a stranger, because a lot of times what happens is you'll start talking about your problems and your instances, and then someone will be like, "Oh, I can top that," and they'll start talking about their problems and their instances, and now you walk away feeling worse because now you got your problems and their problems. Where I was like, "Hey, man, sometimes you just need a one-way conversation."
Do you think, as a black man from the States, the traditional way to be is just to, as you say, be stoic, stiff upper lip, just crack on, and not to talk and not to reveal your emotions? In fact, when was the last time you cried?
Oh, so yeah, I don't cry. I think that's the thing. I think last time I cried it was actually my dad's funeral. I remember the day, and I remember it because it was so weird. Because before that, I hadn't cried since I was 16. My dad died when I was 30, so that's what, 4 years ago. So I had gone 14 years without crying. I feel emotions, like I felt the emotional, like yo, this sucks, but it never came out my face. And yeah, no, last time I cried was my dad's funeral. Was the last time. And even that, there was a weird shame at first with it. I ran
Oh,
to the
well,
bathroom.
because when I've asked you the question, there was a little bit of a pushback on that. No, I don't cry.
No, well, it's so funny because when I did cry, there was a shame about it, bro. Like I ran to the bathroom, and I remember running water. My brother is trying to like, yo, bro, it's okay, let it out, because my brother is he's emotional. He'll let whatever he's feeling is coming out. With me, I'm like, nah, I just gotta take a shower real quick. I'm just running water over my face because like, there's no way I'm crying right now. Yes, I think there was a little shame. Now I just don't though. I don't. No shame in people who cry. It's not a reaction that I have normally or to bad things. I also think being in the military, it was always like, okay, how do we solve the problem? Like you got to solve the problem. And being raised by a Marine, it's always like crying is not going to help you. You got to solve the problem. Solve the problem, then you can feel bad about it. It's always been the philosophy, and I realize it's not the healthiest because you need to feel what you need to feel, but
But that's go on.
yeah, but I do think it helps you for a lot of people if you can, and that's what it is. I don't think I've ever, as a man, as a black man in America, like you said, I don't think I've ever felt safe enough to cry, if that makes sense. Like even
But there's a denial of a part of you, or there's a part of you that's not hasn't been nurtured.
yeah, and I think that might be completely true.
It's not a criticism. It's just I'm listening to what you're saying.
Yeah, and that, bro, that may be completely true. And I think when I do think about it deeply, like I've never cried like around a woman, right? Like I've never cried like around my like homeboys or like any. I've just never felt. I don't think there's ever been like a hey, this is the space for you to like let it out, you know. So I don't. I just don't think I do. And now, I mean, and now I know it's probably the wrong way to think about it, but I've been through so much now that like my mind automatically, whenever something happens, my mind automatically is like, it's not as bad as that was. So come on, let's.
Okay. It's raising a question for me. Then, are you a father yet?
I am. I have a 10-year-old actually. I was a young dad, actually, a pretty young dad.
Okay.
So I had a kid when I was in the military. Um, she doesn't. She's doesn't have a baby girl. That's my girl. You know, it's my whole. She's great. She freely expresses every emotion on the emotion range chart. Which I love that about her because she's so expressive and so creative, and I love that. I think she gets a lot of that from her mom. To be fair, but yeah. I have a daughter.
I'm just wondering then, because of you maybe shielding your own emotions, but it feels like what I'm hearing you say is that your daughter is expressive. It's not regimented in terms of locking your emotions in.
So I think I would be more cautious of it if I had a boy. I would try to, like, I wouldn't want him to be that way specifically with me, if that makes sense. But I
Yeah.
think little girls, or at least my little girl, it's like she came built in with something that's just like, it's okay to be, like, which I love, but it's okay to do whatever. Like, she's just a little, she's a ball of light, but she'll cry when she feels it. She'll cry at cartoons. Like, if something sad, I think she cried at Demon Hunter or something
Yeah,
recently.
yeah.
And I think that's wonderful. I think she'll laugh when something's funny. Like, she'll give you attitude too. She expresses every emotion, and I think, yeah, yeah. But I also think her mom is also that person. She's gonna express it, and
Nice.
you're gonna know what her mom is feeling.
Okay. Tell me, you're living in London now, is it?
I do. I live in London. Yeah.
How do you find it? How do you find the UK?
You know what? People say people in London aren't nice. I haven't experienced that yet, but I think it's because I'm American. And I will say this: I say to all my friends this because a few of us moved over. In America, like, you're black first and then you're American. Here, you're American first and then you're black. So it was crazy to feel American. I remember the first couple months, like, yo, I kind of feel white. Like, this is gonna be people coming up to you. They want to know more about your history. Where are you from? Where are your parents? Are you're like, oh no, this is kind of a beautiful thing. And I've always liked being unique. I think because of my childhood, the way I grew up, so many brothers and sisters and so many cousins, that here you kind of stand out a little bit more. I've always been seeking that standout position. I love London. I hate the weather. I'm not going to sit here and pretend that I like rain or gray skies or not seeing the sun for weeks at a time. But I do. I love the people. I love going around the UK. I love seeing even your seaside towns which they're kind of shit, but they're nice.
Which ones have you been to? Seaside town.
Oh man, I've done Folkestone.
Okay.
What's Margate? Margate's one of my favorites actually.
Okay.
Been out
You've
to
done Brighton.
been out to Brighton. Been down to Brighton for a little bit. That's a fun one. Brighton is it's such an interesting place though. I just felt like I stood out a little bit, maybe too much in Brighton. I was like, okay, maybe this isn't
Okay.
for me. But yeah, I've been up to Liverpool. I've been up north though. Been up Liverpool. Seen
You've been to Liverpool.
brother. I've been to Liverpool. I've been to Liverpool. Seen the Scousers.
You
Did
know,
did
okay. Okay.
did a show or two up there. I like Liverpool. What's the street? There's a street, the Beatles Street, where they're all playing music.
Matthew Street.
I've been to Matthew Street. That might be, and I told people, I was like, that might be my favorite place in the UK.
Wow.
I was also there right after Liverpool won the league, right? So it was also, everyone was happy, right? Like,
You know that.
everyone was happy, yeah, except for the Everton supporters, right? But yeah, pretty much everyone was happy. So that was a beautiful time too. Yeah, I love the UK. I'm having a good time.
I'm glad. Could you ever make it your home?
I think if I were to meet the right person and she's like, hell, because I'm not gonna lie, I would like my kids to go to school. If I had kids, like, with a person, I would want them to go to school over here. It's just a little bit safer. Also, I'd much rather raise a black kid in this country and not saying this country is without its problems, because it definitely has them. But I just think,
yeah.
yeah, I just think America just has a lot more issues, or just the issues that concern me, right? Because in the way I live my life, as long as I'm safe, bro, you can say whatever you want about me. Also, I'm a comic. I'm a joke you. I'm gonna out joke you, but you can also hate me. You can hate me as long as you can't hurt me. I don't really care, right? In America, if somebody can really hate you and they want to hurt you, they got the means to do it. They can chase you down with a gun while you're going on a jogging in your neighborhood. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's too much mess, and I don't know if I want to raise a kid in that, because you got to grow up fast when you're doing that,
Yeah.
So
Just briefly, just going back to the military or just in life in general, has there ever been a time in your life when you were afraid?
You know what? You train. Yes, the short answer is yes. I'm going to say that. You train though so much for those moments. That, like, you don't. clock that you're afraid. So afraid wouldn't be the right word. Let me say, like, in the noise, I was never scared. That's the best way to say it. In the noise of if guns are flying or whatever, just planes going over, like I was never scared in that. It just felt like a shared experience to everybody. I think the scariest parts of the military are those times when like you're alone and like your brain is kind of playing tricks on you, and you feel like you're not in. I've had quite a few friends like lose, like they committed suicide, right? Like recently too, a few friends that did it, and it's like, yeah, I think the scariest parts are when you feel like everyone's left. Your purpose is kind of diminished a little bit too. If you get a couple things wrong, and you're just like, man, it could go either way. Those moments are definitely scary, and those moments are like, hopefully, you have a good enough friend or someone to be like, hey, you need to get help. I can't do this one with you, right? Like, I can't fix it for you. Um, those are the scariest moments, though.
You
Yeah,
know
those
what?
are scary.
I'm glad you said that. I can't fix it for you, because sometimes you're not in a good place to be able to support somebody, and that's okay in life.
Yeah,
You said you've lost a few friends recently to suicide. How did that
yeah.
impact you?
I think the last one that happened, it got me because I called him. I noticed he was going quiet, and I called him, and so there's a big thing towards the end of my career in the military where they were just rolling out new things, and they were like, hey, look, people used to be scared of saying suicide. They're like, no, you need to like say it, like ask, are you thinking about committing suicide? Like, what is going on? Are you thinking about hurting yourself? And
Don't say, "Are you thinking of hurting yourself?" Always say suicide.
yeah,
So
like
that
make
was
it,
very clear. We're on the
yeah.
same page.
Yeah, and I asked him, and he was like, "Nah, man, you know me, like I would never go there. It's just like a little rough patch." He had just gotten out of the military. There were a couple missions when he was in that went sideways, and so you can kind of tell on the anniversary of those dates. I'm always like, "Hey, bro, be good." And that one hurt when he had two little girls too, so it's always like you're thinking about what you left behind, and you try to obviously make it a positive, like to at least bring some sort of positivity in the world by like maybe even talking about, like I have a show now called If Y'all Weren't Here I'd Be Crying, and mostly about that, right, where it's like, hey, I wish you knew the actual pain that hole would leave, right? Like if you leave I will be crying, like that's the whole show about it. But yeah, that one was pretty rough, but I think all I can really do is take this wonderful platform, this wonderful voice that God gave me, and I somehow have the ability to make people listen to me and want to listen to me for long periods of time, and just talk about all this stuff, man. Just talk about what people go through, what people feel, how they're feeling, and to try to alleviate, because there's a lot of blame that people have. I was angry when it happened. I was upset, man. I was mad at, and then when you're angry with no one to be angry at, that's the worst type of anger. Because now I'm just
Yeah,
walking around just mad, right? Like I can't put it anywhere. I haven't smiled all day. No one can really understand why. But yeah, no, there's some feelings that come with that. There's always going to be. And all you can try to do is put some sort of good into the world out there, so it doesn't feel wasted almost. But yeah, other than
absolutely.
that, yeah.
Have you ever come close to suicide yourself?
I don't think I ever came close to suicide. I do remember uh just the thought of like having a long thought process of like, well, what is next? Like, like, is this really worth it? Should I stick around? Like, who would be? But I could, I couldn't leave my baby girl. That's just not. And then also too, for me, I know I'm not done yet with the world. But there were moments I couldn't, because when I got injured when I was in the military, but I couldn't walk. I was like some 20-year-old kid, and I've been walking for 19 years. So when you can't do the thing you've been doing forever, now it gets dark, right? And the surgeries, the medicines are all fucking up your head. You're on the pain meds, but you can't even go for a run or what. Yeah, I definitely got low. But I just have friends, man. I think I just have really good people in really good places. And my physical therapist was the one that was like, you got to snap out of this, right? Because it's like, there's people way worse than you. Like, she was like, and she was like, you're a tough guy, right? And I was like, I thought I was. And she was like, well, you got to prove this is because we're in physical therapy. I can't even like scoot myself with my leg through on a little rolly chair. And she's
Yeah,
like, you can't come in here all sad and depressed, because the mindset, your body will heal when your
of course.
mindset is right. So
Of course.
she was on it.
Did you
She was on it.
did you did you find it easy to open up to talk?
I find it easy to talk to a beautiful woman. I think we can.
Appreciate.
Yeah, it's easy, man. Sometimes when it's guys, there's just that level of I can't reach that vulnerability. But my physical therapist her name's Kiana Rice. Shout out to her. She's a beautiful Black woman, and she whatever she said, you just listened. Like, but everyone, she had the whole shop rocking like that. And that was easier to talk to. That was easier to open up to. Yeah, and I think you gotta know that about yourself, man. Like some people are just. It's just easier for me to receive that type of information from beautiful woman. I think a lot more people are like that than they would care to admit. But you know,
I was going to ask, in terms of compare, contrast, people opening up about the vulnerabilities and the mental health in America as opposed to the UK. Do you find there's a difference between the two? And do you find there's a difference between the Black communities in America or here?
so I think, and it's weird the parallels, right? Like I think here it's so everyone's got ADHD, everyone's got something. Like it just feels like there's always something in in the white communities, but the Black communities, and I think it's because you come straight from you know where your grandparents are from, you know where that those harsh cultures. You rarely hear Black people opening up about having here. I feel like about having stuff. I feel like I'm not gonna lie. I think Kanye West made it a lot easier to actually talk about mental health because we were like he is going crazy and that is something is wrong and we need to address it. And once that started happening, I think Black people, especially in the hip hop community, started being like, "Hey, no, this is," and then you start getting Big Sean. You start people, "Hey, you gotta meditate. Are you okay? You need help." So we've had good role models, and I think we've followed them. Um, but then when you get here, it's still very like it's like like no. Like we don't nah, it's
We
this
don't talk
that's not
about
what
it.
yeah. And when I'm talking about Black British friends, and
Yes.
it's a crazy thing too because I'll meet someone around my age and they'll be yearning for that openness and conversation, but they'll be like, I can't talk to my parents about that. Like child of immigrants, bro, we not doing that. Like their life, what they couldn't have no ADHD when they was coming over here working to get so I think it's a lot easier to talk about in the States than it is here.
That's really reassuring to know.
Yeah,
That's
but again,
reassuring.
I think that's because the culture, right? The hip hop culture, the basketball culture. When you got Michael B's, like all the culture that Black people are into, are all saying, "Hey, check on yourself, man. That's okay. Don't be out here just thinking it's all about money or grind. Get some happiness in your life, and then you can kind of get into that. Like, okay, what is bipolar? Hey, man, am I? Do I have a chemical imbalance? Hey, maybe I did go through a lot of trauma when I was watching, all the videos of Black people getting shot, whatever. Maybe there's some stuff I need to decide. So,
Absolutely.
yeah, yeah, but
Absolutely. I've got a quote here
okay,
because just based on, I'm wondering whether or not being a comedian is an outlet for your lived experiences.
yeah, yeah,
And
absolutely
a
is.
lot of it, and it's kind of therapeutic in a sense then
Hmm. Yeah,
to
yeah.
to allow yourself to be vulnerable, to push the boundaries. Can I say this? Can I say that?
Yeah,
No?
yeah. I like I think being a comic is very helpful just to feel heard every single night is amazing and to feel like you're saying something that's reaching people in a way like cuz we're talking about serious shit but like this it can be funny to you because it's funny to me because none of it makes sense. But if I'm in it with you where it doesn't make sense, then at least that makes sense to us. You know what I'm saying? So now
Yes.
we can grow a
Yes.
little bit. Yeah, yeah. No, I love being a comedian. I think it's my
When
favorite thing to do in the world.
we first started doing the Hurt Locker, I remember we had, and Tim might be able to remind me, we had a comedian, Black American veteran, and he'd been on the circuit maybe 2.5 years. But when he wasn't doing that, he was a truck driver.
Oh,
He was a
nice.
truck
Okay.
driver doing maybe 700 miles a day. And I said to him, it sounds like when you're in your cab, that's your therapeutic space. And he never
Yeah.
thought about it until I mentioned it. And he's because he was coming up with things that when he comes, Solly Sellers, the grey ghost, yeah, he was saying when he comes back from his trips, then he reaches out to certain people that he may have offended in the past and stuff like that. So that truck is his, it's just therapeutic space.
No, it's good. I didn't even think about that.
David Lynch once said, "Keep your eye on the donuts, not the hole." That's a quote that's going around a lot at the moment. As a screenwriter yourself, what are your thoughts?
No, I think that is very much, it's more like, hey, appreciate what you have, or focus on what's here, not what's missing, right? Like, I think that's how I interpret that. And when you focus on the donut, you can make life shake whatever way you want it to. But if you're constantly being like, oh, I don't have this, I don't have this, I don't have this, that's the haves and don't haves, man. I don't have money, I don't have a girl, I don't have family. It's like, all right, well, you do have an able body, you know what I'm saying? You do have, a wicked sense of humor, you know what I'm saying? You do have a phone and access to date nights and stuff. You can make it happen. But some people do want to complain. And honestly, you need complainers. You need complainers in the world too, just so you can be like, I never want to be like that person, You know what I'm saying? I knew a guy, man. I swear he could have hit the lottery. It would have been like, man, but now I got to pay taxes. He'd be like, bro, you just hit the lottery, bro. Come on. But it happens, man. But I like that. I like that quote actually. Sound like a Ted Lasso quote, kind of. But
all my friends talk about Ted Lasso. I've never watched anything by him, but I think I'm gonna have to.
Brother, get you some Ted Lasso in your life, man. That is that right there. That's a feel good show. I think you watch that show and you just want to be a better person, man. You just like, you know what? Let me try. Let me try for people. It's just a good show, man. It's just a good show, and the world needs it. I think everybody needs it. I think that's what the world's not watching enough Ted Lasso, and they don't shy away from the heavy topics too, which is what I really like about it. But it's a good one.
Okay. Can I ask? You can only pick one person.
Okay.
Who's the most important person in your life?
The most important person in my life, and if I could only pick one, I would say my mother. I would give that one to her.
What if I said you're wrong? What if I said the most important person in your life is you?
I think my mom would disagree. No, I'm kidding. No, you know what? Fair. That's a great one. And it's so funny how when people ask that question, how many people you would go through before you even got to yourself?
Where would you put yourself? I get a sense you don't put yourself first.
No. I think truly, I think I'd make top 5 though in my life. I would try, if my mom's good, my daughter's good. Baby mama, that's family, So if she's not good, my daughter's not good. And then I think my sisters, and then me, and then my brother would come right after that. But my family, it's all a fam though.
Oh yeah. I hear you. I know you're going to do a gig today.
Yeah.
So we finished this Hurt Locker. You turn off your laptop, your phone. There's a knock at the door, and there's 10-year-old Tevin at the door. What do you say to him? What do you do?
10-year-old is he going to go back and live my life, or is he?
Whatever. What do you say to him?
I think I just say, hey man, look, you did it. You found a way to be funny forever. Oh man, hey, look, I'm proud of you. You're gonna go through some stuff. But just don't let the stuff get on top of you, you know what I'm saying? I think my dad used to say, we never understood it, was like, it's not the time you spend, it's where you're going. You know what I'm saying? So some things may take longer, some things may take shorter, but just make sure you're still heading in the right direction. But hey, you did it. This is what success looks like. So, and never take that for granted.
Are you an angry person?
No. I don't have that. I don't really have that in me. I don't got time for that. I used to be. I think when I was younger, of course, I think everyone is a little bit. I think I try to be happier, or at least in the middle in everything I do. Because getting angry is, man, that emotion, how you doing stuff you didn't even think was possible. So I try to be happy, and I think I'm doing a good job of it so far. So far, so good.
Okay, one final question.
All right.
You've got a dinner date, okay? You've got 8 seats, one's taken by you. Who are the 7 people that you would invite?
7 people. 7 people that I would invite.
It can be people now, can be family, or it could be somebody from the past.
Okay, well, I would definitely get my dad in there, healthy. When he was still healthy. I would just want him to see what actually came of all this. I would get my dad, my grandma, would bring her back. My daughter would be there, so it's at 3. My daughter would be there, and then my mom, so she could hang out with my dad again. I think that would just be a cool experience for them. And then I'd get Shaq there. I'd get Shaq and Allen Iverson. Those are my 2 favorite basketball players. I'd have them then there to talk about it. I'd have Richard Pryor and Sidney Poitier there, just to talk about what it was like to, just to talk about what it was like to even do the things they did with the whole world against you.
100%.
Yeah, and then I think with my last one, honestly, it'd probably be Dr. Martin Luther King, just to tell me how he stayed peaceful, brother, because I don't understand that part. I would have some questions. I think that would be my 8, and that would be a very interesting dinner. Richard Pryor and Martin Luther King across from each other would just be hilarious, man. It would be hilarious.
Can I add one person to that? You're going to make an additional chair space. Paul Robeson. Paul Robeson. Yeah.
Okay, I see it.
Yeah. You've come across him, haven't you?
I have.
Yeah.
I have.
Because I think as a black man who broke the ceiling, smashed through the ceiling. Yeah, he was a trailblazer.
Sit him down there. I mean, I would, but honestly, I would want I want Jackie Robinson. I want everybody there. I'd love to see Chadwick Boseman again, man, the Black Panther. I would just, what I'm saying? I would see if you gave me that type of power, I don't know. I would need the table from the Last Testament.
Yeah,
I need it all. Shit, I'd probably bring Jesus back to solve some issues too. You know what I'm saying? I said, we gotta get this started, man.
Indeed.
Get this started. Yeah, man. Yeah.
Any last comments?
No, this was wonderful, man. This is wonderful. Hey, thanks for having me. First of all, I always love talking about this stuff, and remember to reach out. It is important. Remember to reach out, talk to your friends, and honestly, if y'all weren't here, I'd be crying is a good sentiment for everyone to take. Just remember, someone would be crying if you weren't here. So don't do that to them.
Tevin Everett, thank you for being a guest on The Hurt Locker.
No, thank you. Thank you for having me. It's beautiful.
And it's a wrap.
It's a wrap.
The Hurt Locker is a safe space for our guests to openly share their mental health experiences. If you have been affected by any of the content in this recording, then please reach out for support. If it is an emergency, dial 999. If you would like to talk to somebody today, then please call the Samaritans on 116 123. Stay safe. Thanks for listening to this episode of The Hurt Locker. Please give us a rating or share with another listener. You can also follow us on Instagram and Facebook at The Hurt Locker Pod.